Welcome back, Excellency Esports Light League. Welcome to the quarterfinals game number 4 of Divine Ascension Obsidian versus DEGR Reformed. We had a very eventful first 3 games. Let's see what we have for these next, possibly 2. I am Chief Chirpa 03, joined by Zeddy. How you feeling about these games so far, Zeddy?
Just absolutely great. I don't know why you're lying to everybody, though, saying we're going to have 2 more games. I mean, have you seen the way Divine Ascension's been playing? I mean, it's kind of brutal, I'm not going to lie. They really shaped up after game 1, and I think they've really found their niche against this team. They've really found, exactly what they need to do to exploit this team's weaknesses and really push for those victories, and they've been executing it on it great these last 2 games.
For sure. DEGR Reformed, banning away the Tristana and the Vel'Koz, seeing the Vel'Koz as an issue, and Senna Kog'Maw being banned away by Divine Ascension.
So, tell me, have you ever woken up in the last 2 months and assumed that that day would be the day that Vel'Koz gets banned? No way.
I have
Absolutely
never.
No way. There's no way that happens. But you know what? It's gonna happen, and so is the Leona ban. Interestingly enough, it's a champion that does a lot for this team, but it's not the scariest threat in the game. Like, you're banning Leona, but all of a sudden we got Hecarim, Seraphine, Udyr again, and it's looking like it's gonna be a run back
To game number 1.
It could happen again. That being said, game number 1, I believe it was the Udyr B1 into the Hecarim Seraphine, but the Trundle pick. Okay, Divine Ascension really flexing here going into game number 4, whipping out the pocket pick Trundle. It's a decent counter to Hecarim. You can steal a lot of that attack and movement speed, shut him down, force him to fight you under that ice pillar. But it's a champion that, it's kind of been dead for the longest time, and it hasn't really shown its head in the meta. They're just usually better answers, and it's going to mean that the Seraphine Hecarim goes the way of Degenerate's Reform.
Yeah, that is very interesting. I am excited to see this encore delivery system again, and Vayne being picked up.
Yeah, I mean, Vayne, great answer to Rel and Trundle. It's a good lane partner for the Seraphine if you wanted to run that bot. Doesn't have to necessarily. You have a lot of Vayne counters still available here, however. There are some options, especially with the Rel. You could do the Kaisa. Not necessarily a true counter to Vayne, but does have a pretty decent lane matchup. Looking at champions like Misfortune. I think Misfortune is probably going to be the take here. It's actually going to be the Jinx.
Jinx.
I don't know why you counterpick yourself like that, sir. This is probably not ideal. You've seen that, Divine Ascension giving these strong 80 carry choices to Lexar, letting him carry the game. It's usually what goes better for them, but actually going to force him onto that late game scaling role. Now in this game, they're kind of losing draft, in my opinion. You've got these 2 hyper strong power picks on the blue side, as well as the Vayne that so far counters all 3 champions that you've locked in. So far, the Degenerate's Reformed really coming out on top of this draft.
Yeah, let's see if they can play it to their biggest strengths. Aurelia and Orianna banned away by Divine Ascension, and DEGR Reformed banning away the Urgot. Let's see if they'll ban away Darius. But Gnar is going to actually be their possible ban here?
I don't really see the value in the Darius ban as of right now. You don't really have any tanks that you're looking at locking in necessarily. I think the Gnar is just a safer ban, because not only does it kind of get to that backline and really deal with the Seraphine, but it limits your options for champions up on the top side, especially after Aurelia and Camille. Camille's not banned, actually. Ooh. I think this is one of the first times that Camille has gone through draft. I can't remember if she made it through last game, but I believe.
She did not.
No, so Camille actually on the table now, and that Galio getting locked in for Divine Ascension means that Camille top is a very real threat going into pick number 5.
Wow, this is an extremely real threat, and it is going to be... Oh, they're leaving open the stacked team for DEGR.
You can't show Galio like that and leave the Camille open. You know it's going to get taken away. You are getting shoehorned into locking it in, however, in a sense. You don't really want to give up that combo without really having a response designed. And so far, there's nothing really in Degenerate Reform's kit to deal with that hard dive. In fact, a lot of their comp is really weak to dive. This is going to be the Gragas support, I believe. They are flexing at mid currently, but it is going to likely be the support Gragas going into the bottom lane.
Interesting. I'm very fascinated to see where that goes. I'm also fascinated to see where this Galio goes.
This Galio is almost 100% of the time mid lane. You have the Rel locked in, so you've kind of lost the support flex. There is the option of putting it top, but kind of a jank matchup and definitely not into the Camille, not the ideal laning scenario.
Oh, I forgot about the Rel.
Yeah, I mean, it's all good. You know, sometimes you just miss. It is what it is. I mean, you know, Lord knows some of these abilities have just been flying all south and haywire. You're going to see, looks like it's going to be another degenerate reformed condemn party on this Vayne pick here. And picking in the Aatrox as well. Like my brain is breaking right now. There are 5 champions that get countered by Vayne on this Divine Ascension roster. Yes, they didn't perform on the Vayne last time they picked it, but this is just utter disrespect with this draft from Divine Ascension. Completely ignoring that threat from the Vayne.
Oh, that is... Let's see if it's a mistake or if it's Big 5 head.
I don't know, man. I'm looking at this and I'm saying, like, I don't know what you're trying to get out of your draft. You've drafted a skill matchup top lane, a mid lane that, you know, doesn't really win, a bot lane that definitely loses. Your jungle matchup wins, but only to a certain degree. Eventually, it just starts to become irrelevant. And now Divine Ascension, they've put themselves in a position where not only are they running scaling carries, but they also need to win the early game in order for them to have any chance of success here. So it's really all going to come down to execution. Your draft is not doing you any favors. You need to just play better League of Legends than your opponent if you have any intention of winning this game.
Yeah, and I mean, that's kind of what we've been seeing over the past few games, just better League of Legends. So we'll see if that's actually what stays consistent or if they were just winning because of the picks.
I mean, it's a good point. We've seen some excellent performances from this team so far, and I suspect that we'll see another incredible performance from them going into game number 4. That being said, you know, as someone that spends quite a bit of their time drafting and analyzing picks, I am giving Degenerate Reformed a huge A+ on theirs and like a C to Divine Ascension. The draft gap is quite immeasurable here so far. So Degenerate Reformed, if they can start to pull it together even a little bit, they'll notice a significant improvement going into this game. Just all the capabilities they have for good teamwork and combination pieces here with this draft.
Yeah, would you say that DGN right now is a pretty strong meta slave?
I'd say so, but in a good way. Like, they're meta slaving with a twist. They're having some fun with it. The Vayne pick, you know, it's not really meta. It fits, but it's not like something you ever blind pick or pick just openly into any matchup. It's definitely a niche pick, and they found a spot to exercise that niche. And then the Camille pick, again, it was kind of like, you know, you take it just to deny the enemy team from it. So it's not really the meta Camille that you're looking at, because it doesn't fit the rest of your comp per se, but it is a really strong champion. So you just have all these strong pieces, and then a number of them work together really well. But the main thing you have is just beautiful counter matchups in just about every single lane. And that's really, I think, what's going to provide this team an advantage.
Yeah, let's see how it turns out. I'm actually really interested to see how this goes, because Divine Ascension have definitely showed that they're a very strong team, being able to play very strong comps. But this composition, as you said, takes quite a bit in the early game to be able to really get rolling. This Jinx needs a little bit. This Aatrox definitely needs a little bit of a push. Let's see if Trundle is able to do it. And as
all the pressure is on Saturation and Void to carry this early game.
Extremely so. Well, as we do count down our pick and ban, we are going to head to a short break. I hope you all enjoy game number 4. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you guys on the Rift. Welcome back, Excellency Esports, to quarterfinals, Divine Ascension Obsidian versus DGen Esports. We got very eventful games 1, 2, and 3. We're heading to game number 4. We are once again joined by Zeddy on the desk. How you feeling today?
Feeling good, man. I mean, I'm just chilling. It's been a long night, a lot of League of Legends. And we're finally going to see an invade coming out here in the early game. It's going to be a pretty aggressive start here from Divine Ascension.
Yeah, very aggressive. Divine Ascension wants to win this game decisively.
Absolutely. And, you know, as we mentioned, this team, they need to get a lead early. So I do like that they go for this early invade. They have the ability to at least burn a flash or a summoner or two. Fox Zero actually did take the cleanse here, which is a wise choice into the Rel Galio. You don't want to get perma CC and punished for that. Having the ability to get that movement in and get those tumbles off is exactly what you're going to need in this game. That tumble is going to be absolutely massive for this team. And it looks like Degenerate Reform, or Divine Ascension rather, they're not ready to give up on this early game.
Oh, definitely not. They're going for that bush cheese right there. Seraphine going for a little bit of an invade, just to place a little bit of deep vision. And I'm excited to see this bot lane right here.
This is going to be a good matchup, but we're going to have to see how this level 1 plays out. It looks like they are actually going to show on lane early, bait things out, and just try to get the priority push. You know, you have the Jinx priority into the lane. It's a good opportunity to, you know, give yourself a lead if you can get that lane to slow push in and then bounce back towards you and hold a freeze at that Scuttle Crab spawn. You have great opportunity for your jungler to come in and set up a gank and, you know, get yourself an early lead that way.
Definitely. Now Coltonson dealing with Heartstuck Brother, just trying to avoid that true damage Q. That Q, it hurts very bad.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of face tanked all three of them at the beginning. Thankfully, he did have his shield there, so he was able to avoid a significant amount of damage in that trade. But you know, the Q start from the Camille is definitely interesting here. You see Camille start W into matchups like this, where, you know, you want to get that poke, you want to focus more on your movement as opposed to your raw upfront damage.
Yeah, definitely. Now, this poke matchup right now from Flute Loops, I think that just levels 1, 2, and 3, they're trying to do this. Coltonson dodging out of way of Heartstuck Brother's E. That hook shot not quite hitting.
Yeah, Coltonson kind of with the mystery there is going to dive forward with the Q when he could just use it at melee range and get the knockup. But now, looks like a little fight on the bottom side here.
Yeah, Hackman popping that goes forces the flash out of saturation as the DGen Reformed bot lane was able to go up a little bit faster. Hookshot landing onto Heartstuck from Heartstuck Brother. Coltonson just tried to dash away. Heartstuck Brother tanks a turret shot for his troubles.
He's doing a really good job of dodging a lot of these Qs coming up from Coltonson, and because of that, he's been avoiding a significant amount of damage when he takes these 1v1s, giving him a huge advantage. But now, getting a little aggressive there. Looks like it might have been a kill opportunity for Coltonson. He's just going to back away.
Oh, definitely. That was very scary right there for Heartstuck Brother. That could have turned really bad extremely fast.
Bottom side, though, this wave, you know, it is going to set up a bit of a freeze here for Degenerate Reformed if they can get something out of it. Their jungle is currently on the top side of the map, but if they can manage to hold this, they might be able to set up a play coming around that dragon spawn about a minute 15 seconds now. Could be an opportunity for them to build themselves a lead in this early game.
But I think the Divine Ascension Obsidian may have just broken that freeze, as it's, yeah, I don't think that's a freeze no more. They're going to crash that under turret.
Not at all. Yeah, usually the rule of thumb, for those of you that may not know, a freeze, when you're holding that close to your tower, you typically want to have 4 minions, ideally 4 caster minions. You can keep that damage going on the waves. That the wave is always closer to the enemy tower, or rather to your tower. You can hold it nice there and set up for ganks for your team, but that is not going to happen in that situation. Now a little bit of a trade breaking out.
Yeah, Flute Loops rocking right into the trap, eating that E, and Vayne, Fox Zero walks right into the trap, as well as Lexar taking a little bit of damage, has to pop a cookie.
They have to acknowledge these rune choices coming out on the bottom side. You have the Presti attack on the Fox Zero, who gets back to that in a second. A little bit of a fight coming out in the mid lane. Void,
yeah, nothing.
It's nothing really, but Void, you know, he's really showing his dominance in this matchup.
Heartstuck Brother. Ooh, the block from the tower. Forced the flash out of Heartstuck Brother. That's one of the times that you're glad that you took flash on Camille.
That was kind of insane from Saturation. That beautifully placed pillar is going to mean that Heartstuck Brother has to play his lane without having access to flash.
Yeah, I mean, here comes Hackman. Lexar forces flash away. Fox Zero being left pretty low. Just using that Condemn to get Divine XC is going to be able to get right out of there as Saturation disconnects. The TP coming in from Void and the knockup. First blood going over to Lexar. This is that early game that you're talking about. Fox Zero left at 1 HP.
Yeah, a beautiful rotation from the Galio. You know, he knows what his win condition is in the bottom side, and it looks like we're not going to have a pause, ladies and gentlemen. Thank the heavens. Saturation back in this game, so we can continue with this League of Legends action here now. Another fight in the top side.
Yeah, Coltonson, why don't you take these fights? May not have the World Ender yet, but still able to get the top end of these trades.
Looks like Blue Loops is trying to set up a freeze, but that minion wave is too big, and your opponents are still in lane. You're just going to take way too much damage, so he is going to get forced off of that wave. Now, looking at Dragon Spawn, red side on a reset as his lane pushes out. Seraphine, you know, Crimville walking back up into that mid lane. Degenerate Reformed might have an opportunity here to force this dragon if they can recognize this is as a window. You know, you're catching the enemy team on their resets. You've just gotten your items from your back. See if you can use your lane priority here to maybe force some vision on this dragon.
Yup, Trundle, Saturation, picking up that Bomby Cinder, obviously going for more of a tank build. Probably will be going that Turbo Chem tank, as you said, very overpowered right now.
It's with that buy on Trundle if you're going to go tanky. That being said, I mean, I would have liked to see maybe a little bit more of a damage threat. You do have the Aatrox in the top lane, but the Galio is going to kind of resort to that tank duty later on. So there is a very bulky front line. However, you're playing against the Vayne. You don't really beat Vayne by tanking into her. You beat her by killing her before she kills you. So this Trundle build, you know, might be a little bit of a misread on what the game state is calling for. But, you know, we'll have to see. We'll walk that road when we get there. For right now, paying attention to some of these big ultimates available. Galio obviously having his now ready to go. The World Ender up in the top side. There is that 1v1 potential up there for the Aatrox. And global rotation pressure now from the Galio makes these side lanes incredibly threatening.
Oh, I want to see some heroes entrances into a World Ender. Heartstuck Brother can use the Hextech Ultimatum all he wants, but I don't think it's going to get anything. Heartstuck Brother hook shotting, not going to get anything else out of it. Coltonson, the master of jukes right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, you're trying to force these 1v1s in situations where, you know, you don't necessarily have an advantage, and Coltonson into the Camille, not only is he going to out-sustain you in healing, but, you know, he doesn't have mana costs. So for Heartstuck Brother, every time he takes these trades and, you know, they miss-execute or he doesn't just get a clean kill, it's kind of always a lead for Coltonson because he'll always be able to heal up and do more damage than you did.
Oh, exactly. Someone who understands the game.
I mean, I do my best, man, but, you know, sometimes you don't know absolutely everything, but that's kind of a good example of what I'm talking about. Heartstuck Brother trying to get in there, do a little bit of a trade, try to fight back. There's going to be Coltonson taking a huge amount of damage as Dragon drops on the bottom side.
Yeah, Hot S'mores does have ulti available. This is a 4v4 heroes entrance still available, but no stealing your statties right now from Saturation.
I think the advantage of this Hecarim pick on the side of Degenerates Reformed is that because you can play through your side lane so well, you know, as that top lane you might be losing, you can force that dragon whenever you want.
Yeah, but here comes the unstoppable onslaught, or the onslaught of shadows. Fox Zero being taken out solo. Lexar just standing there dealing so much damage. Void using the hero's entrance. Flute Loops, you don't win this one, buddy. Crimvale not being able to rotate, as that is a 1-for-3 trade.
It's going to be another Lexar gaps, folks, as Jinx now 3-0 in this early game. That is absolutely massive. I mean, it was really funny watching him stand still, just right-clicking away, but that attack speed bonus he got from getting that kill with the ultimate to lead off that team fight was pivotal to his success in that team fight. You just do so much damage if you can get that one kill and that one reset, and that is the one advantage that this red side team has to offer, is that their kill setup is so good with all of this crowd control. So Lexar playing really good game right now, gonna absolutely snowball into the mid game, already 3-0.
Oh yeah, doing extremely well right now. Saturation finally having the ultimate up, but did just use it. It's called Subjugate, actually.
I mean, I try my best to learn as many of these ultimate names as I can, but there's like what 140 champions now in League of Legends.
150-ish.
150. Like, it gets hard, man. I'm not gonna lie. We do what we can, you know, ladies and gentlemen. We're people too, and we try our best. And sometimes we just name keys, and sometimes we forget how to add, and we just ride it out. You have a good time.
Sometimes you call it the Super Mega Death Laser, mixing up Jinx and Vel'Koz's ultimate.
Sometimes you just say z when you don't remember what the name of either of those abilities is called.
Yeah, Hardstuck Brother now just doing some training with Coltonson. Coltonson healing it right back up.
It's Classics Aatrox versus Camille, and already that plated steel cap is completed up in the top side is going to make it very hard for Hardstuck Brother to actually find trade opportunities. As Aatrox already so bulky and still dealing a decent amount of damage, but now in the bottom lane, a little bit of a fight breaking out here.
Yeah, if here comes Encore, Red Team steals the Rift Herald as the rotation from Void is huge. And Coltonson popping the world Enda as Hardstuck Brother may be the next target. Flute Loops perfectly dodging out of the way of that W from Lexar, the zap. As Grimvale now going to be the next target of Saturation. Rift Herald being popped mid immediately, wanting to get as many turret plates as possible. Not going for that first turret as Flute Loops going to be taking that damage reduction. Grimvale just taking that easy Herald.
I know, I can see the hesitation in your voice, and all these fights breaking out mid, top, bot at the same time. It's so hard to figure out what to focus on, but one key important piece of information that did not appear on your screen is that Vayne got completely blown up in that fight in the bottom side. She did not fall, however, forced off the wave. So now a 20 CS gap and a 3 turret plate advantage onto this Jinx. The gold differential is astronomical right now. Already mythic item completed, nearly finished the Berserker Greaves as well. This Jinx is just huge in this bot lane.
Oh, Jinx is huge, and this is the exact lead that you're looking for. You got, finally, Lexar, building a Kraken Slayer. Not even building the Gale Force anymore.
True. I think that's his first time not building Gale Force this set. If I remember correctly, that Kraken Slayer is going to be very good into the Gragas, as well as the Hecarim. It's funny because I'm looking at this game and I'm thinking maybe Gale Force was the take. Could have been argued for Shield Bow as well into all of this dive. You know, that's the thing with these mythic items, is it really comes down to player preference and execution.
Yeah, the pillar coming up, Grimvale not being able to get out of their saturation with the smite and the kill. 2-0, 3-0 on Lexar, 1-0 on Void. This is looking pretty grim.
All right, here's my question, Chirpa. I can't tell if it's jungle gap or 80 carry gap or both. But both of these games, Lexar and Saturation are really the difference makers in these sets. And I just can't figure out which one of them is carrying harder.
Yeah, I'm just going to say right now, the only game that Divine Ascension Obsidian has lost so far is the game that Saturation wasn't there.
That's true. We did have a sub jungler in game number 1. So it's looking like a jungler.
Flute Loops going in onto Lexar with the Encore, not going to hit anyone as Lexar just getting dove by this Hecarim, getting that shutdown. Void with the Justice Punch as Hot S'mores now dealing so much damage. TP coming in from Coltonson. No way for Camille to cancel it. Hookshot was on cooldown. Triple kill going over to Hot S'mores. Will Saturation die? Saturation will die, but it will be to Grimvale. Now Coltonson caught in between a rock and a hard place. Will go under turret. Will be safe now, but that is another Drake and more kills going over to DEGR Reformed.
How is this happening? I don't understand. You have such a huge lead, and this Hecarim is just running through your team. It's a very solid pick, but you have to recognize in this situation that these fights, you don't need to take them. You're already so far ahead, and when you scale so much better than the enemy team, it's more than okay to slow things down and, wait things out. But unfortunately, Divine Ascension, they're just pushing this a little too hard, and they're going to get punished big time. Hotspur picking up a triple kill for himself. It's going to be absolutely massive now as we look towards that second Herald spawning up in the top side.
Yeah, and the one game that you don't see Hot S'mores going tank is the game that it is going to be another Mountain Soul. The game that would have felt pretty good to have those Mountain Drakes, but we cannot put out the fact that Divine Ascension Obsidian having these tanks is going to feel pretty good if they stack 4 Mountain Drakes.
regardless, I mean, of which team actually ends up claiming the soul, Mountain Soul is still a pretty significant factor in this game because it just resists a lot of damage. But oh, look at that Gragas ult.
Yeah, and the perfect condemn to the wall. The final hour, Lexar just being caught under turret. Fox Zero catching out Lexar out of position in the flash engage. Divine XC trying to get out of there, but going at the speed of smell right now, popping the ultimate. Now it's Coltonson trying to 1v2 up in the top lane, dashing all around, but does not have that item quite yet, so not gonna be able to grab it.
What happened to Divine Ascension? They were looking so good, and these last fights have been so sloppy. Luxar basically running it down underneath the tower, gets Gragas ulted immediately. Support just drops 2 seconds later, then pops the ulti as she's going down. Such just a mess of movement and decision making here coming from this team now. You know, I'd like to see them, you know, really push their advantage in this lead, but it's starting to swing almost completely opposite way, and actually now a 1k gold lead for Degenerate Reform coming off of what I believe was a 2,000 gold deficit. A huge gold swing now in this mid game at 16 minutes already. This team is going off coming back into this game.
Yeah, they are popping off right now. This Hecarim definitely carrying this game at the moment, going full damage, having that Divine Thunderer. I think that's a pretty good pick.
I like Divine Thunderer into tanks, personally, and I think it has really good synergy with the Hecarim. That being said, the tank build is just so strong, but I don't think I'm going to be able to talk about that right now. We're getting a little too close to the tower here for Luxar. He's actually going to find that kill on the Gragas with the counter gank from Saturation.
Yeah, and at this rate, we're going to be staying up until midnight. But I think still 8 to 8 gold, basically even. This is anybody's game at this point.
It definitely is, but you have to consider the long-term effects of these gold leads and deficits.
Yeah, this is going to be 3 versus 3 bot. Saturation being forced to just ult and flash, excuse me, ult out. Saturation also popping the ultimate that I forgot the name of it already, but Heartsucker Brother going on in with that hook shot. The Hextech ultimatum onto Lexar. So much damage for Fox Zero's on a killing spree, but Lexar is just sitting still and right clicking. Fox Zero's doing just the same thing, but rolling around as well. Fox Zero getting rooted the condemn into the wall, and that huge Mega Death Rocket not going to grab anyone. It's Divine XZ going back onto her little horsey and getting right out of there. Saturation left out 1 HP, and the burn from Leandri is going to be just enough. But top lane turret going down as Camille made the same mistake that Aatrox did. Colton's able to punish and grab that turret, as bot lane tier 1 turret most likely going down too as well.
These fights are just a little sloppy, and it's leading to these really chaotic fights where, you know, champions aren't necessarily dying, but they're getting dropped extremely low, and then neither team is willing to disengage, so the fight just persists like forever and ever and ever. Now, looking at these items, Lexar finally has that Runon's Hurricane. That's a big buy in this game that's going to allow him to farm up exceptionally quickly, get to that late game item, get to that Infinity Edge, and really start pumping out damage in this game. But you know, he's got all this pressure on him to solo carry these games, but he's taking way too much damage in these fights as well. So really, for Degenerate Reform, they can shut this Jinx down and find that pick. This game is not completely over yet by any stretch of the meaning.
Not even close to over. 10 to 10, slight gold advantage in favor of Divine Ascension, but Flute Loop's going on in, popping that explosive cast. But Flute Loops, you're facing a damage carry right now. You're a tank. You don't deal too much damage right now, as Aatrox forced to back right now in the top lane river. They may just be giving up this Drake.
There is the possibility that the dragon gets conceded, and you know, I don't necessarily hate that. That being said, I haven't seen either of these teams concede a single objective, except for Baron when you have 3 inhibitors down, and at that point, it's not really so much of a concession as it is just an unfortunate circumstance. And as we say this, of course, Divine Ascension is going to be making their approach into the Dragon Pit.
Yeah, this is a 5v3 right now, as they are getting flanked. The engage from Hotsmore, the Saturation popping the ultimate, getting killed by Crimvale. Hotsmore taking a lot of damage, and so is this Camille. Colton popping the World Ender. Fruit Loops trying his best to peel for his AD carry, as Fox Zero on a killing spree, on a rampage. This ADC is on fire.
beautiful performance from Fox Zero to really climb himself back into this game. Wasn't having a great performance in the early game, but now starting to actually deal some damage in these team fights. A great flank, however, coming from Heartstuck Brother needs to be acknowledged. It was that flank into the Hextech ultimatum that really shut down this Jinx and made it impossible to continue playing out that team fight. Took so much damage, and once the Jinx went down, the fight was basically over at that point.
Yeah, you don't have much damage other than Jinx right now. Yeah, well, if we look at items at the moment, Jinx picking up that 2 items. Locket being picked up by this Gragas, and Morello's actually going to be the second item for Seraphine on Crimvale.
Yeah, good buy into the team. You know that Aatrox and Trundle both like to heal, and that it's likely that Jinx is either running Domination secondary or will be going into a Bloodthirster at some point. Get a lot of value out of this item, and it's a good buy. I am, however, I kind of looking at that and I'm thinking, why not go for the Chempunk? I'm blanking on the name right now currently, but
Chempunk Future Fire.
That's the one. Thank you, Chempunk Future Fire. Provide that.
Loot loops going on, and Crimvale popping that encore. Lexar being caught out in a bad position. Hero's entrance coming out, but Crimvale grabbing that kill. Shutdown going over to the Rel with the huge ultimate Flute Loops. Double kill going over to Divine XZ.
Divine Ascension just doesn't want me to talk about these items. They just want to fight. And now, Saturation getting picked up on the tail end of that fight. They are going to manage to get something out in return to Generous Reform, finding that pick, getting a little bit more gold for themselves in their pocket. Try to extend this gold lead a little bit, but it is starting to even itself out. Actually, fully evened out now, nearly just within about 100 gold of each other, both of these teams. Looking towards those core items. The big one I'm keeping my eye on, obviously, being that Jinx Infinity Edge.
Oh, that is going to be huge. The engage from Void. This Hot S'more can't do anything. Void with that huge, just nuke of an auto attack. Divine XZ, though, not going to be able to run away as Crimvale takes one turret shot. Here comes Jinx, though, not in the correct position. In a bit of a rough position right now with no support, no tank in front of him. Here comes Saturation, though. Hookshot coming in, forces the flash out of Lexar. Excuse me, sorry.
No, go right ahead for sure. Lexar, getting caught out of position, has to blow the flash on a dead play. It's totally not a good situation, especially when Baron is right around the corner and that both teams have their eyes on it. Having no flash on your AD carry into this Camille Hecarim is going to be absolutely devastating now for the side of Divine Ascension. They've really got to slow things down and make sure that they get themselves set up in a position properly before they take the next fight, because one singular positioning error could lead to the game ending.
This could be a very bad time for either of these teams. Gold about 1k in favor of DGen Reformed. This is and with being at Soul Point, they have to fight over this next Drake. Divine Ascension.
They have to fight over this Drake. They have to fight over this Baron. They have to fight over these wards. There's so many things they have to fight over, and at this stage in the game, you don't really know if you want to. This team is just so scary, and this is exactly when they want to be taking fights. Camille has the Trinity Force. Hecarim has that 2-item power spike. The Seraphine, as you mentioned, those 2 items, very strong combination coming from her. And this Vayne, relatively untouched this entire game, she's pretty strong too.
Oh, Heartstuck Brother missing the hook shot, but here comes Hot Sports and the hero's entrance coming out, knocking up as Lexar just being absolutely annihilated. This is not looking good. Vayne is on a rampage. Vayne is guy like Colton ain't able to do nothing right now. Saturation, the last one alive. This is looking like FF Angle.
Oh my gosh, Lexar didn't get to move the entire fight. The Hecarim ulti into the Seraphine ulti, and then the Baron knocked her up as well. Instantly one-shot the Jinx, and all of a sudden, Fox Zero, coming from behind, is actually able to get himself a triple kill and really push this game right into their favor. This is going to go to Game 5, folks.
Oh, this is going to Game 5 indeed. Mountain Drake coming up in the next 40 seconds. I am partially excited to see who wins this.
Partially? Why partially?
Because I don't know if I really want to see what's going to happen this next game.
What does that mean? I don't know what that means. There's so much potential here. We've seen both of these teams find comeback victories. And this team, Divine Ascension, that looks so strong in games 2 and 3, is now getting absolutely rolled on game number 4 here. There's still potential to come back in this game, but right now, Degenerate Reformed is just playing so much better individually and to find these team fight victories.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there. Here comes Saturation looking for the engage. Colton Sin having the world. Enda gonna pop it. Grim Bale getting just rooted, knocked up. A Fox here is on a legendary rampage. Can't even do anything as Lexar falling. He's looking for the Penta. Triple kill. He's going after Void here. The flash engage, quadra kill. But Trundle is around the backside.
I just love the way Fox Zero running into the brush, chasing the pentakill. And Trundle actually going to jump into the dragon, but he's going to have to flash out as well. They were going to try to spoon feed that penta to Vayne. Imagine if Vayne stayed in the pit. That actually could have been it. That's just too funny.
Yeah, Saturation trying to run away, will not be able to, as Flute Loop's just running him down and may just die to the minions.
Oh my god, they're still trying. I don't know, I think the Penta's despawn. They're gonna let him get away now. Oh my god. What a game of League of Legends, folks.
Yeah, Saturation able to get away. As here comes that Grim. Is he going to find him? He's gonna find him. Gets that kill. Colton trying to deal with Heartstuck Brother, but Heartstuck Brother's a little bit too far ahead right now. Hacksack Ultimatum, even after the flash from Colton, not gonna be able to get out of that one. It's Heartstuck Brother trying to do anything he can just to push this lane. Mountain Soul acquired.
Beautiful job from Degenerate Reformed. I mean, at this point, there's no color to do. It's just, the only color is red. And it's the blood of Divine Ascension that we're seeing constantly on screen. So, I mean, I think I'm just gonna sit back and watch now at this point, and watch this Nexus explode. It's just, you're getting skill gapped in every lane right now, nearly feeding Vayne a pentakill. Oh my god.
Yeah, Vayne being the carry right now was spoon-fed a few kills in the early game, but you know what? Whatever works for the cause. 29-16, about a 9k gold lead.
Absolutely massive swing now for this team, and just, you know, you kind of uncharacteristic from them, really. You know, we saw game 1, they had a big lead, and then games 2 and 3, they just showed that, you know, they're not able to find these comeback angles. But game number 4 now, you know, early game looked even worse than it had in previous games, but all of a sudden, they're really showing up and coming through and finding these picks. Looks like another fight in the bot side.
Yep, Colton just gonna get TP'd on, just sent fleeing by the onslaught of shadows and just gets annihilated.
This teleport was a little ambitious. I mean, you're ahead enough to make plays like this, but with no waves in position, they're just gonna have to wait for these creeps to catch up, and that is gonna give Divine Ascension time to defend this turret. I don't know if that will matter, however. They're so far behind, it's really hard for them to find a teamfight victory regardless of the utility available on the side of Degenerate Reformed.
Yeah, I'm interested to see. Maybe this Jinx grabbing 60% crit chance will be enough. I doubt it will be. Lexar's positioning has been a pretty aggressive this game for someone like Jinx, who needs to be playing a little bit farther behind. And the lethal tempo may be holding him back a little bit.
That's kind of the big takeaway from this game for me personally, and especially looking at draft, is Jinx was just not the pick for your team. When you know your AD carry wants to be aggressive and they need to be able to snowball from the early game, picking a champion that's so team dependent really puts you on the back foot. You know, little fight breaking out on the bottom side now.
Yeah, but the double encore coming out, the taunt onto Hotsmores. Lexar grabbing that kill, exactly what you want. Crimball going golden. But all while this is happening, Vayne pushing this mid lane. Mid inhib going down, top lane tier 2 going down. Yeah, this is looking very grim.
Getting that pick actually, however, and leaving just your mid inhibitor to fall is not the worst case scenario for your team. You're not really in the position to contest Baron anyway, so having the pick, you know what? We'll get to that later.
Lexar is way too aggressive. Void forced to flash away, going golden. Divine XD popping that locket. Colton now going in, trying his best to lifesteal, but not able to do it.
I was just about to say, you know, lose the inhibitor, it's fine. Lexar can just farm and he'll carry, right?
No.
Nope. Not with this positioning. Just getting
he needs to
blown up by Fox here.
Lexar needs to be the one playing Vayne right now.
True.
Hextech Ultimatum coming out, Saturation taking out pretty low swords. Void Fox Zero dealing so much damage. Graggy Ice stealing that kill, double kill going over to Fox Zero, as that will be the Nexus going down. That is GG. We're going to game number 5, folks.
So we're gonna get the GG kill to close things out with the Rocket, but it's not gonna mean anything for this game, as it is going to go to 2-2 now. Degenerate Reform versus Divine Ascension Obsidian. And I'm just gotta say, man, like, I didn't see this happening. We were talking about it before the cast. We were like, you know, this is a 3-1, if not a 3-0. And now it's a 2-2. And I have no idea who's gonna win it.
No clue.
Absolutely crazy.
Well, as this is happening, we do have to head to a short break as we have to get ready for our next game. Make sure not to go anywhere as we head to game number 5. We'll see you guys on the Rift.